Unit 16. Materials. Block. To stop something from moving through or along something else. A large rock blocked our way. Block. A solid piece of wood, stone, ice, etc., with straight sides. Have you ever seen someone make a swan out of a block of ice? Brittle. A brittle substance or object is hard and can easily break into pieces. The plastic had gone brittle from sitting in the sun. Chip. If something hard chips, or you chip it, a small piece of it breaks off. I've chipped a tooth. Chip. A small piece of something such as wood or glass, especially when it has broken off something. Be careful, because there might be chips of glass on the floor. Compact. To make something smaller or firmer by pressing it, or to become smaller or firmer like this. Some places compact rubbish so it doesn't take up so much space. Compact. Smaller than most things of the same kind. Our flat is quite compact. Concentrate. Make a solution of something in water stronger. You can concentrate the solution by heating it. Crack. To damage something so that a line or long narrow hole appears on its surface, but it does not break into pieces. Who cracked the window? Crack. A line on a surface where something is beginning to break apart. How long has that crack in the ceiling been there? Crumb. A very small piece that falls off a dry food such as bread or cake. Don't get crumbs on the carpet. Crush. To hit or press something so hard that you damage it severely or destroy it, especially by making its shape flatter. Crush the can and put it in the recycling bin. Crush. A crowd of people all extremely close together in an area that is too small for them. There was quite a crush in the club last night. Dense. A dense substance is very heavy in relation to its size. Lead is a very dense metal. Dilute. To make a liquid less strong by adding water or another liquid. I find orange juice a bit strong, so I usually dilute it. Dilute. A dilute liquid has been mixed with another liquid to make it less strong. Use dilute bleach to clean the table. Dissolve. If a solid substance dissolves in a liquid, it is mixed into the liquid so that it becomes included in it. Salt dissolves quite easily in water. Fabric. Cloth, especially when it is used for making things such as clothes or curtains. We need to choose the fabric we want for the curtains. Firm. Solid but not hard. When the cake feels firm, remove it from the oven. Flake. To come off a surface in small flat pieces. The paint on the door is beginning to flake. Flake. A small flat piece of something. The floor was covered in flakes of paint from the old walls. Fragile. Easy to break or damage. Be careful with that ornament because it's very fragile. Friction. The physical force that makes it difficult for one surface to move over another. If you rub your hands together, friction makes them get warm. Grain. A very small individual piece of a substance such as sand, salt or sugar. Each grain of salt is really a tiny cube. Gravity. The force that makes something fall to the ground. How do they measure gravity? Grind. To break something into very small pieces or powder, by using a machine or by crushing it between two hard surfaces. I often grind my own spices. Hollow. Empty inside. I was surprised to find that the tree was hollow. Liquid. A substance that can flow, has no fixed shape, and is not a solid or gas. Did you know that glass is actually a liquid? Liquid. In the form of a liquid. You have to be careful when you're handling liquid explosive. Lump. To put people or things into the same group, although they do not really belong together. You can't just lump all disabled people together like that. Lump. A solid piece of something that does not have a regular shape. I tripped over a lump of concrete. Mineral. A natural substance in the earth, for example, coal, salt, gold or diamonds. This area is very rich in minerals. Mold. To give something a particular shape or form. Mold the clay into the shape of a person. Mold. A shaped container into which you pour a liquid that then becomes solid in the shape of the container. Pour the jelly into the mold and then put it in the fridge. Opaque. Opaque glass, liquid, etc., is difficult to see through. We've had opaque glass put into the bathroom. Pat. To touch someone gently several times with a flat hand to show that you care about them or want to make them feel better. He patted me on the shoulder and told me not to worry. Pat. The action of gently touching someone or something several times with a flat hand. I felt a pat on my back and turned round. Pile. To put a large number of things on top of each other. Don't just pile your clothes on the bed. Pile. A number of things put on top of each other. Could you help me carry this pile of books? Polish. To rub the surface of something in order to make it shine. The maid polished the table and then cleaned the floor. Polish. A chemical substance that you rub onto an object to make it shine. Put some polish on your cloth and then rub, like this. Scratch. To pull your nails along your skin, especially because you have an itch that makes you want to do this. You'll only make it worse if you scratch. Scratch. To damage a surface by marking it with something sharp or rough. How did you scratch your violin? Scratch. A thin mark on a surface. There's a scratch on my new CD. Scrub. To wash or clean something by rubbing it hard, especially with a brush. I've been scrubbing the floor all day. Scrub. A thorough wash or clean. What your fingernails need is a good scrub. Smash. To break something noisily into many pieces by dropping or hitting it with a lot of force. You've smashed the glass on my favorite picture. Solid. A substance that is not a liquid or a gas. Water is a liquid, but ice is a solid. Solid. A solid substance is firm and hard and is not a liquid or a gas. The concrete should be solid by now. Speck. A very small spot or mark. There isn't a speck of dust in the house. Squash. To damage something by pressing or crushing it and making it lose its normal shape. She sat on my glasses and squashed them. Squash. A situation in which there are too many people in a small space. It'll be a bit of a squash, but we can get 5 in the car. Squeeze. To press something firmly, especially with your hands. Squeeze the sponge to get all the water out. Squeeze. The action of squeezing something. She gave my hand a quick squeeze. Stack. To arrange things so that they stand one on top of another. The assistant was stacking boxes when I walked into the shop. Stack. A pile of things placed one on top of another. I can't believe you knocked over that stack of tins. Stiff. Firm and difficult to bend. Take a stiff piece of card and cut a hole in it. Stroke. To gently move your hand over skin, hair, or fur. I was only trying to stroke the dog. Stroke. A gentle movement of your hand across skin, hair, or fur. I fell asleep while my mom was stroking my hair. Stuff. To push something soft into a space or container. I stuffed a few things into a suitcase and set off. Stuff. A variety of objects or things. What's all this stuff on your desk? Substance. A particular type of liquid, solid or gas. You're not allowed to take certain substances on a plane. Synthetic. Made from artificial materials or substances, not from natural ones. Nylon is a synthetic material. Tear. To pull something so that it separates into pieces or gets a hole in it, or to become damaged in this way. I've torn my t-shirt on the door handle. Tear. A hole in a piece of paper, cloth, etc., where it has been torn. There's a big tear in my dress. Texture. The way something feels when you touch it. I love the texture of silk. Transparent. A transparent object or substance is clear or thin enough for you to see things through. Glass is transparent. The built environment. Built up. A built-up area has a lot of buildings in it. This area has become really quite built up over the last few years. Bypass. To avoid the center of a town or city by using a road that goes round it. If we take the other road, we can bypass the town area altogether. Bypass. A road that goes round a town or city so that you can avoid going through its center. I don't think they'll ever finish the new bypass. Construct. To build something large or complicated, such as a bridge or road. We plan to construct a new bridge across the river. Demolish. To deliberately destroy a building. They've demolished my old school. District. An area of a town or country. It's quite a nice district to live in. Dwell. To live somewhere. The little old man dwelt in a rundown cottage. Estate. An area where there are many houses, usually built at the same time by the same company. There's a lot of crime on this estate. Evict. To legally force someone to leave the house they are living in, usually because they have not paid their rent. The letter says they're going to evict us. High-rise. A high-rise building is very tall with many floors or levels. I couldn't live in a high-rise block. Housing. Buildings for people to live in. The government needs to build more housing for the poor. Infrastructure. The set of systems within a place or organization that affect how well it operates, for example, the telephone and transport systems in a country. During the war, a lot of the infrastructure of the country was destroyed. Inner city. An area near the center of a large city where a lot of poverty and other social problems exist. There's some very interesting music coming out of the inner city these days. Occupy. If someone occupies a room, building, area of land, seat, bed, or other place during a period of time, they use it. Patients with minor illnesses are occupying beds that are needed for more serious cases. Populated. A populated area has people living there. Luckily, the fire didn't spread to populated areas. Skyline. The shapes made by buildings or mountains when you see them against the sky. I love the London skyline. Skyscraper. A very tall building containing offices or flats. Skyscrapers started to appear in the 1930s. Structure. Something large such as a building or a bridge that is built from different parts. The large structure outside town is going to be the new stadium. Suburban. Relating to an area or town near a large city but away from its center, where there are many houses, especially for middle-class people. Many people would love to live in suburban areas, but can't afford it. Surroundings. All the things that are present in a place and that form the experience of being there. I wish I lived in more pleasant surroundings. Urban. Relating to towns and cities, or happening there. There needs to be more investment in urban areas.